All right, excellent. All right, so welcome everyone. It is the Recovery Coaching Call, weekly Recovery Coaching Call. My name is Omar Pinto. It is November 4th, 2020. And as usual, we meet every week to help support anyone who needs help, guidance, suggestions to get out of their own way. Is there anyone on this call currently that is either stuck, needs a little coaching, that we can help? We're going to need somebody, or Tree Life's going to jump in. So I'm going to call on somebody in a minute. Wendy, are you upside down? I see Wendy's like upside down.
Okay. So yeah, I'm upside down in order for me to put my iPod where it's best for me to keep it.
Gotcha.
Because I might have to click at it any minute. So just let me hang the iPod up and away we go. So
got it.
Yay,
okay.
Everybody. Otherwise, I'm upside down in my life usually anyway. So I'm here today because I've listened to one or two of your podcasts on the coaching calls.
Wonderful.
And I thought to myself, Omar would probably spend time with me because I'm trying to spend time finding a coaching concept, group concept for two family members new in recovery who are sort of hesitant. One's very into the 12-step AA one. The other one's extremely hesitant about it. And I know them both very well. And I have mentioned the SRC to the other person. I've mentioned it several times. And I thought, I might as well pop in and join the group because I might be making myself nuts trying to help them find a place to be comfortable going forward in their own recovery, their own way. And a lot of what I hear from them is it's not about the drinking, it's about life. And I said, but they all go together. So, I was listening this morning to a podcast going, it's probably a big fat Al-Anon message for me. and my need to know if I leave this planet, they're going to be okay. And my sponsor could tell me 1,000 things like you could tell me 1,000 things, but I'm still stuck there with, I want them to be okay. And I want them to, even if they get crazy, to be okay. And for one of them members, in hindsight, in the last couple of weeks, maybe I should have said more. Even though I've never used in front of them, maybe I should have said more when they were using about the dangers of it. I don't know. So now they're in a position where it's the law and it's big trouble. And I have guilt over that. I'm on the other one's back about this could happen to you. And I'm making myself crazy doing it. So it's kind of like, okay, maybe I need some coaching.
Absolutely. First step is always acceptance and awareness. And you have that. You have that. And I certainly do come across this. This is very, this is certainly a big part of the recovery journey is the loved ones that are struggling with how to deal, how to cope, more importantly, how to help those that truly need the help, that truly need it. So, but here's where I'm going to come from, Wendy, is that as much as they need help, I can sense that you need help. And so sometimes the best way for me to help others is to help myself. The more confident, the stronger I am, and how I show up for them is with that strength and that confidence, is sometimes the best thing that I can do for those that I care about the most. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. So the first thing I want to kind of unwrap a little bit is this guilt. So for what reason is there this guilt?
Watching active addiction in their life and still hearing that voice in my head, they'll be ready when they're ready. And I said, well, you know, I can't really show them what I was like using because they never knew. So I can only give them examples. And they were at the age where they didn't want to hear it. And now that one has potential of going as far as jail, it's kind of like, I feel crappy I wasn't there before to help you. And they have said to me, I wouldn't have heard you anyway. And I said, I'm aware of that, but I still have the guilt. And I haven't really said that a lot to them because they're going through enough stress as it is. And it's just like, okay, where is this coming from?
That's my question.
Right. So it has to come from family of origin.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have this all in our family. We have half alcoholics, half Al-Anoners. I have the gift of being both, in need of both programs. So, you know, sometimes I sit when I go through what I'm going through and I think about how my mother felt having no program and the craziness that she went through with my using. And I know I've been through days of that with my children. And I still have that parent thing going, oh, I wonder if I should have done something more. And, you know, one has said nothing to me other than, no, I was ready when I was ready. And the other one's still not really talking yet. So I think it's just a family pattern.
Okay. Do you believe that when you were going through your own addiction, that your mother could have done more?
You know, I don't think so. Not when I was going through it. I know there was a couple of times, I remember one time coming out of New York City and just losing it with her, just crying the whole way. And she was doing her best and she looked terrified to ask me the question, what's up? And I just thought, I can't tell her. It's going to break her. So I'm going to make up some little story and just pretend everything's okay. And that will be it. And she looked relieved. I didn't know enough about it, her family history, realize why she looked relieved. But in hindsight, since then, I understand why she looked relieved. It was overwhelming for her.
In what sense?
She would probably have to face her own demons of having to face her father was an alcoholic. And her parents hid that very well. And I only learned that many, many years later. And I went, because I remember when I first got clean and sober, I went to give my mother a hug and she was like vibrationally extremely nervous. And I thought, you know, I never really noticed that before. But I had that same symptom inside of me. When we talk about it in restless, irritable, and discontented, fear. And I said, I have that same thing. And my daughter said that to me the other day. She said, you know, Mom, I get afraid to hug you. I said, really? She said, you look so fragile. I said, that's an insult. I am not fragile. Give me a hug. And then the other night, I saw her last night, and it was just like she's a whole bunch of stuff going on at work, which if she understood that, that's why I like to advise some counseling. So I just AA, that she's creating whole problems at work. I recognize it's a pattern. And she just leaned into me for a hug. And I'm so trained not to hug from my family of origin. I held her for a second and then moved away. And I walked home because she's right behind me in another house. I walked home and said, damn, that was an opportunity to just sit with her. And I didn't know how to do it. So I'd like to learn how to do that. That's when you talked about, can you just be aware and accept? I'm trying to get there.
Tell me about your mind reading.
I mean, the stuff I like to do all the time.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about all the guesswork and the mind reading, and yeah, tell me about that.
Okay, so my first answer when you asked me that was my busy mind. My
Mm-hmm.
mind is always busy. And when I was inventorying about it the other day, I thought, you do this for a defense. You
Mm-hmm.
will look okay if you're always busy. And again, this will be where my mother comes back in again, because I always felt I had to look busy for her. It was not okay to just daydream and stare at nothing. And I really wasn't. I was actually having a very lovely time between the ages 7 and 10, just hanging with the divas and with spirit. And for my family, you don't do that. You do to exist. So I learned to have a busy mind. And it's my defense.
Hold on. What was it? It was not okay to do what?
It was not okay just to be and hang out and just stare. So I used to like to paint as a kid. I only knew how to paint if something came to my mind. So I guided painting. And for my mother, I was just sitting there doing nothing. And that didn't work for her. So I'd have to look like I was painting, which is such a stupid thing to do. And I remember many years later, she was trying to rescue me. She was sending me to different places, to different camps. And I learned how to silk paint. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I came home and she was sure I could just push them right out one after the other. And I said, one, you can't do that with silk painting. And two, there's nothing in me that says paint. And she didn't get that. So I have, that's my defense, staying in my head and keeping it busy.
Okay. And so it's not really, okay. It's a defense. It is a way to, no, the word validation
Mm-hmm.
comes up.
Mm-hmm.
So I need my mother's approval. I need my mother's validation. And sitting over here with the divas.
Well, they're fairies, the divas, the
Okay.
spirits.
The spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's not acceptable.
No, and it also came a lot from my father too. To anything to do with painting, my father, you were poor and you were in the gutter. So it took many, many, many years. Finally, when I said to him, I said, do you look at my brother the same way when he's running in one of the top art businesses in the world? Because he's selling and buying paintings from those artists. And he just looked at me. I said, for years, what was with you, Dad? And he goes, well, for years, I used to think you'd just be a bum if you painted. And I said, how interesting, because my brother's younger than me, and yet you think he does the business very well, and it's all about painting. That painter began by staring at a wall. And as I realized, my father didn't get that. So yes, it's always been, how can I look like I have value in my family? So another thing I appreciate about that is I love to research. I have a friend of mine in recovery. She's actually a reverend now because she has such reverence for her higher power. And I'm a dedicated researcher. I really do enjoy it. Just sometimes I overdo it.
Okay.
And
So
that stems from family stuff, So.
what doing the research?
Well, doing the research, because at the dinner table, if you didn't have something intelligent to talk about for your day, then you were sort of ignored or given a frown. So we always had to be on cue.
Okay. So I needed something of value to discuss,
Oh my God.
or I was dismissed.
Yes. Until I found out later, after their third drink, they wouldn't have heard me anyway. But I didn't know that at that point in my life.
Okay. So let me ask you a question about your children. So your children are struggling with addiction.
One's in recovery, that they're not struggling anymore. I think the other one is trying to find somewhere to have peace in their mind, in their life.
Okay. And how is your relationship with the child that is in recovery?
we've been distant for a long time because they're very strong-headed in what they do by themselves. And I think women to women are usually more disconnected. That's my first child. And so it's nice. It's like, I'm glad you're alive. I'm glad you survived the accident. We might have a chance as women to connect now. You're going to have your sponsor and your inventory about me. I've already done my inventory about being a mother to you. So we're doing that slowly. It was wonderful when she was little, and then she went away, mostly because she moved out to live with her father until I joined them. So it's been good. She will say to you that she has great admiration for me, but if you saw the two of us together, it's always an energy of a block between us.
So go ahead.
So as my second child, that second pregnancy, it was actually when my first husband was using, and I didn't know it, through the grace of God, because he was using my favorite drug of all, cocaine. And I remember saying to myself when I was pregnant, to the kid, I don't know if it was a boy or a girl, it's you and me together. It's you and me together going forward. So I know there's codependency issues there with him. So it's kind of like, you need to move on in your life. Let me find you people in recovery that can help you. I can help you, but I think I'm not supposed to be doing this anymore.
Okay. All right. So being a mother is a job. When I say that, what does that mean to you?
It's a joy of being.
It's a joy
of being. I work for my job. What kind of work do I do for my job? What kind of work do I do for my joy of being?
And that's being a mother.
Yes. I've been the head of my household almost all my life. I've been a mom. I've been a stepmom. This is what my training was growing up. I've had many jobs in many different industries, but the function that I was really going for was to be the head of the household at home. And now they're gone.
So, so here is, it's you and me together. It's a joy of being. It's a joy of being a mother. This is my training to be the head of the household. This is what I know. This is what I do. So what's going on with your son? What does that mean about you being a mother?
Oh, first words out of my mind was, I'm not good enough.
Here we go. I'm not good.
Right, the classic, I'm not good enough.
Well, here's the thing. We hear that all the time. There's language gets repeated so much that until it comes out of my mouth, it doesn't land. It doesn't have the power. It doesn't have the footing where I say, oh, it's because you don't feel like you're a good enough mom. But as soon as we take this journey together and we start unpacking these things and the words come out of your mouth, what were the feelings now? So as you say that, what are the feelings associated with saying I'm not good enough?
It's a sad feeling. And it's taken me a long time to get to it. I've had a wonderful therapist, medium, a massage therapist, and she used to say to me in session, oh my God, Wendy, she put her hand on my second and my third chakra. And she said, do you not feel this? And I went, no. She said, oh, okay, I will show you how you're feeling. And she used to go, why do you make me do this? And I go, because I can't feel it. So just keep going until I learn. So it's taken me a long time to find my inner self. So when I hear those words, I'm not good enough, there's part of me that gets very sad and disappointed because it's not a truth. Deep, deep down, I can take that rebel inside of me and say, I know I'm good enough. And I have many ways to show that I am, just not for what you expect of me. So I even do it with myself a lot. You know, I have to stop and give myself a hug and say, you're right. You know, all those flowers died yesterday in the garden, but that's okay. Mother Nature doesn't mind. We are going to do it again. We are good enough.
When you said, just not what you expect of me, who are you referring to?
It has to go back to parents.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
It always goes back to parents.
Right.
It always goes back to childhood. We always end up here.
Right. And what I try to do is when I hear that little voice inside of me, I have to ask myself, are you self-criticizing yourself? Because that's the only essence that that little kid knows right now is you. So where's the criticism come from? Do you need to do this anymore? And it's just like, I have to apologize a lot to my inner kid. I'm sorry. Not very cool.
In this particular case, what keeps coming up to me right now is this idea of a reparenting process. Because can I speak candidly?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So here's what happens when I put all my eggs in one basket. If the bottom of the basket breaks open, all the eggs fall out. And I'm left feeling empty. And you have put everything. When you talk about being a mother, that is your everything. And when the eggs fall out of the basket, what do I have?
Wow. Okay. That was a lot of deep sadness in there for me.
Okay. And so what we need to do is we need to start to acknowledge and honor that sadness. This deep sadness doesn't come from this present moment, what's happening right now. What's happening right now with your son is triggering that deep sadness and disappointment. And there is a little Wendy in there who had very, very, very big dreams. She spent a lot of time with the fairies. Spent a lot of time with the divas. 7 to 10 years old. That's a long time. That's 3 years of being happy and content with me. I want to emphasize that people spend an entire lifetime trying to find fleeting moments feeling the way you felt for 3 years. Happy to just be. Very connected to spirituality, very connected to spirit. And I was told that's not good enough. And so I abandoned me. I abandoned little Wendy at 10. And I became someone else. I became someone for my mother. I became someone for my father. And I left her behind. And this is where the deep sadness that keeps surfacing, she's still there. She's still very much there, Wendy. Mm-hmm. And you want to try and heal that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so...
it's time.
Okay. So, here we go. You ready, Tori? Here we go. All right, so we're going to go within. It's time to simply just go within. So I want you to close your eyes and just relax and just breathe. Really deep. Really breathe deeply. And again. And again. And from this place of of acceptance and love and peace, I want you to remember, I want you to imagine, if you can, and bring up an image of you between the ages of 7 and 10. Let me know where you can see little Wendy somewhere between the ages of 7 and 10.
Okay.
And I want you to describe to me where she is and what she's doing.
I am sitting on the dock. I have a plaid jacket on, red hat on. I got my corduroy pants on, and I'm waiting for Mr. Big Bass to come on in, grab the end of the fishing pole. The dock that's there, it's a very small dock. It's at the very bottom of a quarry, right next to the house. We all grew up on a farm, and very happy to just sit there and wait for Mr. Big Bass to come bite on my hook. And I was very content there.
And how old was little Wendy at that time?
I have to be at least 8 or 9. Otherwise, I wouldn't be down at the dock.
Okay. So 8 or 9 years old, and she's very content.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I want you to be the Wendy of right now. And I want you to dissociate yourself from 9-year-old Wendy, little Wendy. And you are you, and she is she. And she has no idea what's coming. She's just sitting there, happy as can be, waiting for Mr. Bass, content. And you, the Wendy of today, you need to warn her. You need to prepare her for what's coming. So I want you to start walking slowly towards her until she can see you.
Okay, well, she could see me because I have to be at the top of the stairs. So she's going to see me there.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing what I know about fishing for Mr. Big Bass, I'm walking down the stairs very quietly. And I've got my finger to my lip like I promised to be very quiet. Because it's disrupting when somebody's fishing and somebody else is clattering down the steps. And I'm tiptoeing down the steps. Okay.
And does she see you?
She's turned to see me, yes.
Okay, great. So I want you to sit right next to her.
Not a problem.
Okay. And as you sit there next to little Wendy, I want you to tell her, so little Wendy, it's me, Big Wendy. And I don't want to interrupt the fishing or scare away Mr. Bass, but I need you to just, for a moment, put the pole down because I have something very important to tell you. Let me know what she says.
She didn't say anything. She says, okay, and puts the pole down.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. This is your opportunity. This is your moment to mother little Wendy the way you always wanted to be mothered. She is going to need all of your love, all of your support, all of your wisdom, all of your insight. You have an opportunity right now to change the future for her. What do you tell her?
I tell her that I'm very admiring of her fishing. And I think she's going to grow up to be a great fisherwoman. And would she mind if I sat with her and could she teach me some of the skills she's learned? Okay, so she's smiling, she's thrilled, and she is handing me the fishing pole with her other hand on the pole to say, I will show you how to do this.
This is good.
So we are together holding the pole. We're barely talking because Mr. Big Bass is usually underneath the dock. And I'm thrilled because she looks thrilled to be showing me what to do. So she doesn't know the rest of you are listening. Otherwise she'd stop fishing.
She also doesn't know what's coming.
Right. Well, I don't either. So.
Oh, yes, you do. So you need to be the strongest, most confident version of yourself that you have ever been in this moment for her. Loving and tender and compassionate. What do you tell her?
You're the best. You're my best. And I love you very much. Now, so the next words, which is between you and me and not her, is, and I accept you for exactly who you are. I'm just not confident enough quite to say that to her. I'm fluctuating between being her and being me. I'm hoping, as I said to her, show me how to fish, she'll begin to trust me. She's still wary with me.
So ask her, am I making you feel uncomfortable?
Okay. Is my being here uncomfortable for you? Okay, so her response was, that was a weird question. Now you make me nervous. Why'd you ask me that?
Because it's important for me to know that you're comfortable.
Okay. Because it's important for me to know that you're comfortable with me here. This is your private fishing space, and I don't want to step into your space, but I really want to be here with you today, and you have a talent I'd like to learn. All right, she's slightly relaxed.
Okay, good. So it might be too soon to go so deep. Maybe it's better if you just, now that you have this opportunity to learn how to fish, that she can teach you how to fish for bass. Ask her, well, if you can teach me how to fish, what else can you teach me? I'd love to learn more.
Her first response was, I'll show you how to paint.
Do you want to learn how to paint?
I like her to want to teach me how to paint. I like to see what she does. I know how to paint. I know how to paint.
Is there anything else that she can teach you?
Wow, okay. So the first thing that came to my mind was be more comfortable talking with the divas.
So that means something. That means something. What's the deeper meaning behind that statement?
Be one with spirit.
What else?
I can't get it. I'm blocking it.
So here's where we're at. This is the blockage right here. Be one with spirit. When did you stop being one with spirit?
Probably right around that era. Yeah, I think somewhere in that era, because then the religious part came in next. Very conscious of having to be religious. And it was like, ooh, I'm not sure if that nun really wants to hear my perspective of God. I think I better be quiet.
So in this place where you are at right now, something just came to me and I want to know how it lands for you. Is this where your guilt stems from?
You have to give me a better perspective of where you're getting that from. Not being able to connect with myself? Is that what you're asking? Or abandoning myself?
Yeah.
Probably okay, I'll go with abandoning myself. Because you asked me that and I thought, where would I feel guilty sitting on the dock with my inner self and feel guilty? And I said, for abandoning her. You literally walked back up those 20 steps and left her there. Oh.
Come on back, Wendy.
Okay, sorry. They took me back to my sister. My sister's 10 years younger than me. And when she was born, she was my kid. And then I left her. And then I got into addiction, so I really left her. So that came up too. It was like a repeated pattern. Get close and run away. Okay.
So let's use this awareness, this acknowledgement, and try to understand where the relationship with your son fits in to all this.
Yeah. I know for him, and probably my daughter, when I separated from their father and I came back to the house, because it was still here in Georgia, and their father said to me, I want us to get back together the way we were. And I now know in hindsight, neither one of those children should have been in that room when this happened, but they were. And I said no, because I never finished the sentence with saying, I don't want to go back to the way we were. I simply said no, because he's very tall and angry. And I watched my son crumble, because in his mind, I was saying to him, no, I'm not coming back to the way we were, which was going to be true anyway. But so that's where it would connect with him the strongest that day.
So there's this pattern, or there's this behavior, or there's this event or events where
several.
Yeah,
because I was going to stop being a mother that day. I was not going to live in that house anymore. I mean, I was already moved out of the house. I was up the street. I was actually just beginning inner child work, going to Atlanta every third weekend. And it was just like, I didn't know how to explain that to the kids, because I remember being in a meditation one day thinking, I'm going to die if I don't do something about taking care of my inner kid. I've lived a life falsely enough. I love my two children, but I'm losing me. So for my 7-year-old son, there obviously wasn't understanding at all.
When you were doing the inner child work, what were the revelations or possible breakthroughs, or maybe some some resolutions that happened in that work?
Oh, there were so many. It was very cool. Um, um, I think one of my favorite was when we were doing the deep breathing work, rebirthing work.
Mm-hmm.
I discovered how much alcohol and cigarettes really affected me in the womb, and how I used to try to run from it, and then I would succumb to it, and how angry I was with my mother. And it's just like, wow, that's always very interesting. And it showed up many years later when my second husband was going to be smoking, and said, you know, I'm going to start smoking again. He said, do you want to join me? And I asked myself, because I used to smoke. And it was a resounding no. Nope, I will not be joining you. Sorry. There were a couple of things, you know, during that whole 8 weeks I was doing those session works that was very, very healing for me.
So,
and it was interesting too, because both the leaders were 12-steppers. And that's one of the things when I first got into the 12-step or the recovery program was, for me, one of my guiding lights was the 12 steps, 12 traditions. So I always asked, whoever I meet, whatever I need to go through, please have it based on recovery and 12-step work. So I knew I could stay with that stability, and it meant something to me. It was bigger than me, and there was books about it. There was people in it. So there was nobody that could really say to me, oh, that's just a bunch of farce. I go, no, there's a whole history here. And this is a hell of a lot better what my life's been like. So I was and I didn't know there were 12-steppers until I had gotten into the meeting. The person who introduced me was not a 12-stepper. And he was like, oh, what a grace. Thank you, God. Because it was my next moment of recovery. I needed to go there next.
So if I were to ask you, or if I were to say to complete this statement for me,
Mm-hmm.
if I am able to help my son get clean, it means
I have done my work.
I have done my work.
Mm-hmm.
So
and now, no, let me back you up on that one, because he did get clean for a while, and then he went back out again. So what I really wanted to do before either one of them were in the program, and I knew he could have had that opportunity. So it was his sister's first DUI class, and he was getting a DUI. And I went up to see them, and I said to her, they both work in the restaurant business. I said, you both can do this. I have a 10 o'clock Al-Anon meeting, and I want you to tell your brother he's going to come join us. And she said, oh, why? I said, because he's been hearing from people that recovery rooms are stupid and dumb. And I just need to know that he knows they're not. So we're going, I love the story of myself. So we're going to go to an Al-Anon meeting, because I want him to step into a 12-step, 12 tradition room of whatever type of recovery is, and see that they're okay places. They're not like his friend who didn't want to be there and was required to be there, told him about. So we get to this room, we get to the meeting, and you can't miss this young man. He's like 6'8". It's not like you can miss him in the room. So he sat down, his sister sat 2 spaces behind me. And he sat like he ought to have been, very resistant, arms crossed across his chest next to me, just totally stiff and staring. And I thought, oh, okay, Wendy, stay out of this. There's going to be something here for you to learn. Let him go and just get into the meeting, because you really enjoy this meeting whenever you're in town. And it's a mixed meeting, men and women. And the lady asked for a topic, and this guy raised his hand, and he said, I'd like to talk about my controlling mother. Just like, I didn't dare laugh. I just looked at the floor and said, fuck. You know, 3 guys sharing. And at this point, by the second guy, I could feel my son relaxing. And the third guy, my son nudged me slightly. And I went, please, God, change the topic. I can't handle this. And it did get changed. And another woman started speaking. And it made me laugh, because what happened, like 6 or 7 speakers later, there was 2 grandparents behind me. They had their grandchild because their daughter was out using. And I didn't really know how close my daughter was sitting to them. But when they're telling their story, I went, fuck, my daughter needs to hear this. I hope she's listening. And I found out later The meeting was over. I said to my very tall son, are you comfortable being here? Because I want to go up and thank the people who gave the meeting. And by the way, where's your sister? He goes, I don't know. She went to the back door somewhere. So I said, well, I'm going to go find her, and then we'll get together and go have lunch. And I went into the bathroom, and I found her. And I said, are you okay? And she was crying. And she said, oh, my God, how could that woman desert her child and leave it with the grandchildren? And in my head, I said, if you're not paying attention, that's the road you're going down. So I know exactly how those grandparents feel. But I didn't say that to her. I love to tell that story of myself I like to talk about my controlling mother. So for the positive thing came out of that was my daughter, not so much, because she still was resistant with me. He did say to me, thank you. I have an understanding that recovery rooms are not like what's his name said they were. I said, okay, that's all I want you to know. Because I can't follow you around. But you will, if you ever feel lonely or sad or something, step into a 12-step room and you will find me there in spirit. I will be there. So what I'm trying to do now is stop doing this. Like, let him find his way or let her find her way. And she's home. She's in Savannah. She's found her own meetings. Some of my good friends in recovery said to me on the third day, came out to the car and said, we got her. Now you can go. I said, thank you. I was kind of hoping you would. Bye.
This was a brilliant story. There's so much in this story right here that says so much, because here's where the ownership comes in. Here's where the real ownership comes in. So finish this statement. I'm a controlling mom because
I'm afraid. I feel afraid. I'm not afraid. I am, and I'm okay. I feel afraid a lot of the times.
What are you afraid of?
Okay, first sense that came to my mind was being disconnected from spirit, which I find interesting.
I find it perfect.
Oh, okay, good.
So here's the thing. The ones, listen to me very closely, Wendy. There are those of us, me included, that the reason why we are so desperate to help others, it becomes everything to us. The reason why it's so important to help, to give, to save. I want to save my son. I want to save my daughter. What do I want to save them from? I want to save them from all the pain and anguish and fear and aggravation that I have felt. And so, why am I such a controlling mom? Because I'm afraid. What am I afraid of? Being disconnected from spirit. And so, who are you really trying to save, Wendy?
Well, me.
Yes.
Yes.
You can't do it through them. You can't do it through them. This is where the disconnect is. This is why it's so difficult for you to take all the awareness, all the understanding. I know what I'm doing. I know that I can't save them. I know that I can't work a program for them, but I don't know how to stop. Because what you're moving towards is not them. Is I have to face the most painful part of this whole journey, which is me making amends to myself. To the 9-year-old little Wendy who disconnected from spirit and disconnected from herself and became somebody she thought other people would accept and approve of. And you stopped accepting and approving yourself. This is what you're trying to prevent your own kids from feeling. because as you watch them struggle, it's reminding you of you.
Okay, true.
So this controlling aspect, this is what needs to be let go of. I need to let go of this control. I need to apply the most basic of all prayers, which is the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can. And there's your new focus. You've been focusing on the first part of this prayer. You need to focus on the second part of this prayer, which is, I need to reconnect with my fairies and with spirit the way I did when I was a child. I need to forget everything that I have been taught, everything that I have learned, and I need to remember who I am. I am a beautiful child of God. I've always known it. And I need to go back to her. And I need to go back to her now. Tell me what comes up for you as I say those words.
Thank you, God. And it is, and it's like it's beginning. I think I shared the other day on one of our shares in the group about taking things off my plate that I had planned and trying to keep my day simple. And today was the perfect thing. Today I began with, I will just go sit, because I'm working for my neighbor and for their garden. I will just go sit in their garden until I get the guidance of what should go in the garden. And it was a struggle, and my brain would go right and left and right. I did not put a podcast on. I put headsets on just so I could block out the traffic noise around me. But it was good for me because I could feel me connecting with me and connecting with the earth. And part of me that was like, what are you doing? Was like, good God, you've been here for an hour. What are you doing? I said, I'm just being. The flowers have not told me where they want to go. Thank you very much. And that was me being 9 and being okay. So I do have a gift of time and space where I live so I can do this. I just wasn't sure if I was supposed to. You know, it's letting go of that mothering role. Yesterday I went and saw my daughter and I brought her vitamins, which she'd asked for because she was working. I said, I'll get them for you. And she looked miserable. And I just said, I'll just give you a little astrology head up if you like. And there's a couple of days ahead where things could be really crappy. And she just looked at me and said, I don't care about astrology. I understand they're going to be crappy. And I just said, okay, careful here, Wendy. You're going to step into a controlling role because you're afraid for her. She has to go through what she's going to go through at work. What does she want from you right now? And I didn't know. And that's when she leaned into me for a hug. So I'm getting there, Omar. I'm getting there slowly. I was also
getting there quick. You get there sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. Today we're going to move quickly. So here's what I want to remind you of. It was not my choice to be busy. It was my choice to just be, and I just forgot.
Okay, it was not my choice to be busy.
It was my choice to just be.
Oh my God, when you said that, it was not my choice to be busy. There was a resounding part of me from 0 to whatever going, oh, thank God somebody gets it. Yes, I don't get it quite yet, but Omar got it.
That's what I do. I get it, Wendy. I get it. I get my people. Why? Because I am you and you are me.
Yes. Yes, you have an addiction story very similar to mine. So.
Yes. So once I forget everything I learned and everything that was taught to me and remember who I am, a beautiful child of God, connected to infinite wisdom and divine guidance. That is who you are, Wendy. That is who
well,
you are.
We just caught Mr. Big Bass. That's very cool.
This is very cool.
Right.
Woo! Tori,
right.
How was this?
Ooh, some real stuff that cuts deep.
God, I am so grateful. I am so grateful to the universe, to God, to my higher power, to my gifts. This is what it is all about. And you have this inside of you, Wendy, same as I do, just like everyone here. We have this capacity to love unconditionally, without boundaries, without limits. It expands. And all we need to hear sometimes is just that one phrase that gives us permission to be ourselves and reconnect with the most purest essence of who we are. Welcome back, Wendy. Welcome back.
Thank you.
You are here. So now you can let go of your kids because this is their journey and you have yours.
Yeah, I slightly balked on you for that one. I said, it's okay, Wendy, just for today, focus on, it was not my choice to be busy. It's my choice to just use that phasing for today.
Yes.
I know where Omar's going, but that was a little big. Yes, you balked on it. That's okay. Just for today.
Well done. All right. Big round of applause, everyone, for Wendy. She did some work today. I want to honor you.
Oh, I did. Thank you very much, everybody.
You pushed through. You pushed through. All right. We're at the top of the hour, but does anyone want to give Wendy a little bit of love before we sign off?
Wendy, I definitely applaud you for being honest and open, because what you said resonated so hard with me. I mean, I want to help everyone, and I spread myself so thin. And even tonight, something happened to me to where I was like, oh my God, like, I want to use so bad. Like, something happened, and this meeting stopped me from that. So, way to kick ass, girl, and keep on going.
Thank you. Way to kick ass you for coming to the meeting. Yay.
I'm closing right there. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Oh,
we'll
thank you, everybody. Yes.
That was brilliant close. We will see you all next Wednesday. Love y'all. HP, baby.
HP. Thank you.